One sailor has been killed as tensions spiral in the Middle East. The Trump administration has reimposed a blockade on Iran and is now demanding a 20% fee on all shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Grief. Today is Tuesday, 14th July 2026. I'm Neil, and in the next few minutes I'll take you through the news that matters at home in Ireland, then across to Britain and out into the wider world. Everything you need to know before the day begins. Ireland. Let's begin here at home, in Ireland. A mass exodus of Dublin solicitors is set to cripple the criminal courts in the capital. Around 100 legal aid lawyers are preparing to resign from the legal aid panel in a dramatic escalation of a pay dispute that's been rumbling on for months. It's a crisis that threatens access to justice for the most vulnerable people, those who depend on state-funded representation when they face criminal charges. Without these solicitors, courts simply cannot function properly. The dispute centres on how little legal aid pays compared to the time and skill required. Solicitors say they're being undervalued and underpaid, and they've reached a breaking point. This isn't just a professional complaint, it's a threat to the administration of justice itself, and it'll affect defendants, victims, and the court system across Dublin. Meanwhile, if you live in Dublin, Kildare, Wicklow, Meath, South Tipperary or coastal Wexford, a hosepipe ban is coming into force from Thursday. Water restrictions are being imposed because supplies in the east of the country are running dangerously low. The hot weather has depleted reservoirs faster than expected, and so from the end of this week, you won't be able to use a hosepipe to water your garden, wash your car, or fill a paddling pool. It's a 6-week ban, and it reflects how real and immediate the impact of drought conditions can be. For anyone in Dublin, Cork or Galway, the practical impact is that summer routines are about to change, and it's a reminder of how vulnerable water supplies are becoming. And as families prepare for the summer holidays, a new survey has found that more than a quarter of parents say they will go into debt to pay for back-to-school costs. The findings are stark. School uniforms, books, sports gear, and equipment are pushing working families over the edge. It's another layer of pressure on households already struggling with the cost of living, and it shows no sign of easing. The back-to-school season has become a genuine financial crisis for many Irish families, and it's happening every single year. Finally, as the Dáil approaches its summer recess, there are 5 outstanding sticky issues still unresolved on the parliamentary agenda. Government business is pending, and key legislative matters remain in limbo as deputies prepare to step away from the chamber. It's a reminder that there's still work to be done when the Dáil returns in autumn. UK. Now across the Irish Sea to the UK. Andy Burnham is set to become Britain's next Prime Minister after securing overwhelming backing from Labour MPs, 349 of them. It's a landslide that makes a leadership challenge impossible and marks a significant shift in UK political direction. Burnham, the former Mayor of Greater Manchester, brings a different profile to number 10, and his priorities will shape how Britain handles everything from the economy to social policy in the months ahead. For Ireland, this matters because a new UK Prime Minister will set the tone for relations with Dublin, the implementation of post-Brexit arrangements, governance in Northern Ireland, and cross-border trade, all of which affect Irish citizens and businesses directly. The UK Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, has announced that the government is amending the immigration bill to allow the deportation of Commonwealth citizens convicted of serious crimes. The move is specifically aimed at enabling the removal of Shabir Ahmed, the Rochdale grooming gang leader. It reflects a shift in UK immigration enforcement priorities and the government's determination to remove those convicted of heinous offences. Here at home, that means changes to UK immigration law that will affect Irish citizens living in the UK and set new precedents for how serious criminals are handled in cross-border justice cooperation. And across Northern Ireland today, the 12th of July celebrations are taking place in 18 venues. Communities across all 6 counties are marking the annual commemoration with parades and gatherings. It remains one of the most significant cultural occasions in the region, reflecting identity, history, and community life in the north. The 12th is a major event in Northern Ireland that touches on wider Irish-UK relations and the cultural fabric of communities on both sides of the border. Finally, the UK has announced a ban on support for Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The move comes close to designating the group as a terrorist organisation and reflects the government's foreign policy positioning on Iran, a decision that will ripple across allied nations and diplomatic channels. Why does this matter on this side of the Irish Sea? Because UK foreign policy decisions on Iran have implications for Irish security interests and how Britain and the EU align on sanctions and international security matters. World. And finally, out into the wider world. The Trump administration has reimposed a blockade on Iran and is now demanding a 20% fee on all shipping passing through the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical waterways. The move follows recent US strikes on Iran and Iranian missile attacks on oil tankers in the region. One sailor has already been killed in the escalating tensions. Wall Street fell as investors reacted to the geopolitical risk and the threat of disruption to global energy supplies. For Ireland, this matters because the Strait of Hormuz is critical for global oil supplies. Any disruption drives up energy costs for Irish businesses and households, while instability threatens the stability of Irish trading partners across the EU and could put Irish-flagged vessels in harm's way. France has announced that Ukraine will begin producing French missiles domestically and is ordering warplanes from European manufacturers. European leaders have also formed an anti-ballistic missile coalition to support Kyiv's defence capabilities. It signals a deepening military commitment from the EU to Ukraine's war effort. Europe is moving beyond providing aid and now talking about integrated defence production and supply chains. And the Irish angle. These decisions reflect a significant shift in EU security policy that touches on Ireland's traditionally neutral stance and Europe's broader move towards integrated defence spending and strategy. The Trump administration has launched a significant effort to isolate the International Criminal Court, challenging the institution's authority and independence. The ICC investigates war crimes and crimes against humanity. It's headquartered in The Hague, and this represents a dramatic shift in US policy towards the global justice system. This matters to Ireland because the ICC is central to international justice mechanisms that Ireland supports as an EU member committed to the rule of law. Undermining it affects global accountability structures and the legal norms that smaller nations like Ireland depend on. And finally, a Federal Reserve official has signaled that the US may need to raise interest rates if core inflation remains elevated. Christopher Waller indicated a potential shift in US monetary policy, coming as Wall Street reacted to both geopolitical tensions and inflation concerns. Central bank decisions ripple outwards across the global economy. Closer to home, US Federal Reserve decisions directly affect interest rates, currency exchange rates that influence how much Irish exports cost overseas, and borrowing costs for Irish businesses and consumers. So what happens in Washington matters here. A lot moving this morning. Courts in crisis and water running short at home. A new Prime Minister in Westminster, and tensions escalating across the Middle East and beyond. And that's the morning brief for today. Whatever the day brings, take it steady. I'm Neil. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, look after yourself.